Damn. I press the record button and I'm like, yeah, I'm already shivering. I won't say the word shivering, but it's more of a word where I'm just like, yeah. It's like I'm not shivering, but I'm sort of like feeling unsure. Yeah, feeling unsure of what next thing should I say to you guys. Exactly. I don't know why I'm getting there is some canonical thing right here that I'm getting that expectation, that fury. I don't know. There is some sort of fury, or there is some sort of expectation. Something canonical is happening. What is this, by the way? Let me ask my cards once. I'll just clarify the question. I'll just ask what this feeling is, and then we'll proceed to what I wanted to talk about, which is regarding self care. Yeah. Another thing why I'm doing this random, uh, you know, blank videos, and then all of a sudden I put a video with a camera and all that. Um, let's just say, yeah, like there's a part of me that doesn't wants to be seen, and there's a part of me that wants to be seen. All right. Yeah. I just feel like it's um easier to. I just feel like it's easier to accept pain than it already is. Yeah, Ten of Swords in reverse in the back of the deck. And we have the Emperor upright. Let's see. I feel like. So I'm seeing the Emperor upright, the Devil in reverse. So it just feels like something is leading people astray. Something is leading people astray, or something is not allowing them to see or to check the inner demons within them, all right? And with the Ace of Cups in reverse, yeah, definitely a lot of, like, how do I say this? Salty love, like the love is there, but it's salty. Yeah, the truth is there, but there's cruelty in this truth. I'm getting the heart is there, but the heart is salty. What a cruel natured reading, right? Why is this coming through as of now? Why is this coming through? The Empress of Pride. The Star. I think this is a couple that is coming together because I'm seeing the Emperor and the Empress, or this is somebody like awakening and realizing themselves. Yeah, they are finally nurturing the barren land. And to nurture that barren land, they need to see, they need to confront themselves, or they need to see what is it that they are refusing to see for a very long time, right? Yeah. Um, I feel like it's because this person deep down they wish to nurture that inner self within themselves. They wish to nurture that person that they are, so that, yeah, it's like it's the pursuit of greatness, it's a pursuit of um heights. It's a pursuit of this great pursuit of great lengths that you would go to for your um great lengths that you would go to for the pursuit of your goals, right? So I don't know, I just feel like there is a need to confront The things that we don't speak to each other, or the things that we don't say but are actually there. It's like the silence. Yeah, the silence is what is making this thing even more cruel, right? Yeah, I'm getting the silence is maddening. So, it's like the silence is making everybody go insane, or the silence is sort of not letting people. I don't know how do I say this. The silence is not letting people speak the things, or I don't know. It's sort of like something is leading the way to corruption. I'm getting and got nobody but you, babe. I'm getting that song, Stunner by NCT 10, Wavy 10. Yeah, like it's time to self nurture. It's time to love ourselves. It's time to see ourselves for who we are, rather than being. Yeah, it's like stop living a lie, or confront what needs to be confronted. Yeah, something is not being confronted. You know, that's the start and the opening of the message. I do not know how this will be in alignment with what I'm about to say, because I did not come to this reading to speak about this issue, right? About this topic. What I particularly wanted to touch upon was the topic where, where we need to start talking about getting off of social media. We need to start talking about getting off of Instagram, getting out of Meta, getting out of these short form content apps, right? And there is a thing, there is a thing among the Gen Zs, or the younger generation, where, if the boomers are doing it, um, so conveniently, so easily, um, yeah, we do not like like it's a thing in Gen Z. Like if a boomer does it, they do not want, um if a boomer does it, then they do not want to do it, right? Like, um it's like people have withdrawn from Facebook. They have gone away from Facebook, not just because Facebook just stole the data and like sold it to everybody, right? But also because Facebook has become an old thing. It has become an old thing, and it doesn't has the features that Instagram provides, TikTok provides, right? And I just feel like we've been doom scrolling for too long. We've been um, on the doom scrolling. We have been on the doom scrolling app for too long. We have been doom scrolling for too long, and um, it's like the apps like YouTube, the websites like YouTube, Instagram, all these places have now turned into a spot where it's not the youth that shares their voice. It's also become a place where the youth is wasting most of their time. All right. And I think we should like start shaming people, or we should like start, um, you know, like calling them uncool for doing the same things that boomers used to do like 100 years back. Not 100 years back, like I mean some years back. Like we used to like shame boomers for, getting too cozy with the convenience of apps like Facebook, and getting too cozy and convenient with all these things, and like not trying to understand the complications of how to upload a video, not understanding the complications of technicalities on how to build a website, build cool websites, or build a blog. And we used to like, I still remember when we were kids, at least in my, this is from my perspective, right? Like we used to like, we never touched those apps because we knew that the older generations were on that apps, and we were like, okay, those are old people things. I do not want to go and do old people things, right? Um, so that's how we were. And I feel like we aren't shaming people enough for being total retards and doing nothing but doom scrolling. Yeah, I feel like we aren't shaming people enough for staying in their houses and just doing nothing but fucking doom scrolling, doing nothing but fucking commenting, doing nothing. Like this, like people like these are not making any impact out there. They're just fucking commenting and just like, it's a different case. Like if you have been paid to comment, if you have been paid, if you have been given, if you have been paid to comment so that you can bring more reach to this specific person's video to a wide variety of audience, yeah, that is good. But apart from that, just scrolling through social media and commenting all the time, doom scrolling, yeah, I think somebody needs to come out there and shame people for that. Like there's no reason for you to do that. There's no fucking reason for you, like especially if you're a youth, unless and until you are in a retirement home, unless and until you are in a, like even people in retirement home, the people whom we used to shame as kids, right? That these old people cannot do anything else or anything like that. Even people in these in their old age, they aren't as addicted to phones as much as the younger generations are, right? And this is my cue on this. Like I feel like people really need to like start shaming other people for being doing nothing but being retards, like just fucking doom scrolling on social media. And I think it's a very hard take to take because many people want their followers, they do not want to lose their followers, they want people to like stay in that same app, and they do not want to like yeah, lose their subscribers and abcd and efgh, right? And I'm not saying that losing subscribers, I'm not, that's why I think that's why I really love the idea of, putting up videos that are like long, like 1 hour long, 30 minutes long. It's not even 15 minutes long. My videos are often like 1 hour long or something like that, And I think before I used to be like really sad about it, but now that I'm thinking about it, you know what? I'm okay with my videos being that long. I'm okay with my videos being that long. If the viewer discerns and thinks that okay, this video is gonna be this long, and I just um yeah, like it's all up to their discernment, right? I'm leaving it up to people's discernment to choose whatever video they want to choose for themselves and see for that 45 minutes or so, right? it's mm, I think it's way more better than being a stupid retard that does nothing but fucking scrolls through the entire feed all the time, right? And I feel like we are not shaming people enough, we are not shaming the youth enough for doing nothing but scrolling on social media. um and this is something I have experienced as a human. Like I am Gen Z. I have experienced a lot of brain complications up there, and with the kind of complications that I've experienced, I feel like yeah, somebody needs. I really needed somebody to come and tell me uh what what the fuck I should do with this doom scrolling issue. Like I wish someone just told me that I look like a gosh darn retard doing nothing but scrolling through social media. And the thing is, the people who are trying to call me out are the people who are not calling me out enough on this because they do not want me to leave their following, they do not want me to leave their website, they do not want me to stop looking at them, right? And yeah, I just realized that there is such a like I won't say, yeah, it's there is a little bit of a validation based system. There is a bit of a reward system where it's like, if my work is creative enough, somebody's gonna reward it with likes and subscribes and share, And I was like, yeah, that's like, yeah, I think in the start of it, every artist was like very happy about it. But as we are going forward, we've sort of realized that, it's not everybody who is interested in this. And not everybody, and the thing is, the things like short form content try to take most of our attention because it's not meant for one or two audience. It's meant for a whole bunch of people, right? Because you have to explain a whole damn complex system in a very simple manner through those through that short form content, right? And when we do that, we do not make content for just two three specific people. We make content for a whole lot of people, and we attract attention from a whole other lot of people who might be a little bit interested, in our content, in our um, art, in whatever we are sharing out there, right? um yeah, how do I say this? I feel like it's okay to and I feel like many people out there, I'm just saying this thing, it's not like they do not want to have a bargain over, you know um, attracting more attention towards them. But I feel like they do have a problem when the attention that they attract is also the attention that is also the reason why people are distracted everywhere. And I feel like that boundary, sometimes it's very hard to set that boundary without um, confronting the viewers, or without presenting something ironical, confrontational to the viewers that might actually trigger the viewers and steal away, or like, make them not pay more attention to this particular content that is being given to them, right? um like, I find many short form videos actually not being able to do that. Like, they do attract attention, they do talk in a rage baity manner, and I feel like that definitely attracts a lot of attention. They try to trigger people, which triggers some people, and some people scroll past it. But then there are other groups of people that do not get triggered. They're sort of there because this person is like continuously shouting, and they are speaking so fast, so that they can say everything in a 20-minute video, right? And I feel like there's a need to. I think there are some very positive movements that have started. Movements. I do not know why do we call it a movement, but yeah, there's a really positive thing that just started on the internet where they were like, we should start speaking more consciously, more slowly, and with more, a little bit more tone, or a little bit more um, meaning to each and every word that we speak from our uh, yeah, that we speak, so that it's not just the audience that takes it on. It's not just like we are not reading from a script, but rather we are basically showing people that we are basically um, I'm not saying, speak like this, because I know that this is unscripted, but I'm talking about like speaking in a manner that um, gives the audience, gives the viewers the time to actually um, process the words, process the things that are being said in the video, right? That's why I really love long form content. I like a lot of long form content, tarot readers. I like a lot of long form content, um, um, analyzers, political analyzers, geographical analyzers, economic analyzers. I like watching their videos because they will be like 1 hour long. Interviews sometimes, like interviews with economic advisors and all that. Those videos are like 1 hour long and everything else. And it is 1 hour long for a reason. It's so that the audience understands what is being told to them. And I feel like we need to start. I won't say shame, I think shame, like nothing negative. I feel like negativity in a healthy manner, not in negativity in the sense of like, um, in a not like not like, like shaming people to the point and extent that they start feeling bad about themselves, but more like shaming people to the point and extent that they might change their habits, right? um so I see a lot of people, like I think that ideology is still there, where they do not like to click on long videos, they do not like to click on 1 hour videos, 2 hour videos, because it's just, and I'm not telling go and watch my videos. I'm pretty sure like my videos won't give you that much of insights. Even if you like it, thank you so much for liking it. But I'm just talking about videos that are 1 hour long in the sense, where they are teaching something, where they are talking about political issues, social issues. Even if you're watching a comedy skit, even if like, watch some traditional skits like Romeo and Juliet, Shakespeare's Hamlet, all these skits, if you see on YouTube and all that, it will be like 1 hour skit. If you I think these are called, what is it, I think it's called ballet, opera ballet or something like that. Yeah, where they will sing and dance at the same time. The Snow Queen ballet, I do not know, like sorry, the nut, what is it, the nutcracker, the Christmas and the Nutcracker, there's a play, all right. You can see those plays, it will be like for 1 hour or something like that. I feel like, yeah, I feel like we have to like sort of, I understand how, and I'm saying this as a person who has a very fast paced brain. Like I always think, like there is always a little noise in my head, and I'm the kind of person that communicates all the time, like like trust me, even if I'm on the verge of my death, you will watch me doing blah 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 even at the verge of my death, because I'm a very, like, my mind is always chattering, and it doesn't stops, it doesn't shuts down. And that's why it's very important to, like, go for videos that are like 1 hour long, 2 hour long, and sort of brings you this slowness, brings this um brings this pace to brings this slow, um how do I say this, like, allows your brain to process things in a more patient manner, teaches you how patience, what patience actually looks like, right? And I'm not saying patience is not a virtue. I am saying, yeah, patience is a virtue. Sometimes patience is a virtue. But I feel like um patience is basically, you know, um, when patience is like the time, or when you are, it's, how it is, like, for example, you have been betrayed by somebody, all right, you've been betrayed by your family member, your close family member, something like that, all right. But you are in a banquet, you just got to know about this news in a banquet. Now you cannot start crying, you cannot just leave the banquet all of a sudden. It's not good. It doesn't give, like, in the end what will happen is that if you do that in this banquet, you might lose your reputation, or people might call you unprofessional, right? And that's why patience is sort of like, like understanding that there is so much pain, but standing tall despite it all. I have been there, where, having those hard emotions, having that hard pain, having to confront that hard emotion, having to confront that pain, having to confront that sorrow, can be like, can almost feel like impossible, all right. And I'm saying that because I've been in situations like that, where I had to, like, literally numb my brain cells and not think about some things, because I just did not want other people to know that I was thinking about those things, or I did not want other people to start hurting me for thinking about some things, because it's very visible from my face. I just had to numb myself down, all right. And that, I feel like, yeah, that is a fight that many people do not want to take, Many people do not want to take the fight of sitting with their emotions. Many people do not like to take that fight of sitting with that emotions. They would rather go on their entire life not listening to their inner, not listening to that, you know, inner sabotage that is telling them that everything is wrong with them, everything is bad about them, um everything about them sucks. um I don't know why I'm getting goddess inanna. Wait a second. Yeah, I was like reading the story of Inanna and her husband Dumuzi, where Dumuzi, basically her husband, was celebrating her death. Like they all thought that Inanna died and Dumuzi was celebrating her death, right? And I don't know, there is something like that in here, like somebody did something so wrong, and you have you have to do nothing but sit with your own emotions. You cannot it's very hard to experience that silence, because the silence haunts you of that betrayal again and again. And that's what I'm getting right here. Like it's it's what is that doesn't wants to be confronted. It is that haunting feeling, you know yeah, it's basically the things that the red flags, that you were basically ignoring for your entire life, finally, haunting you. And you are not, and it's almost like not wanting to confront those feelings, not wanting to confront those feelings. I think because there are much more convenient ways to cope, right? There's social media, there's apps, there's this, there's that. And I'll be honest on this: if you are not patient enough to sit with your own feelings and your own emotions, the coping mechanisms that you're using will suppress your emotions to a lot more years than how many more years it would have taken you to get over this individual. I personally experienced, bro. Just saying from personal experience, really. It took me I'm glad that I came out of that entire bubble, right? Like the more I've just come to a realization that the more I am present with the world, the more I'm not coping, the more I sit with whatever that hard feeling is, the better I get at standing tall, the better I get at, like, yeah, I feel like the next time any situation like that this occurs, I know the work that needs to be done. I know how to stand tall in front of all this nonsense, rather than reverting back to my coping mechanism again and again. And there's no shame in reverting back to your coping mechanisms, right? But there is a limit where you need to understand, you need to learn to accept those challenges in your life, because those challenges are the things that actually make you strong, right? Those are the things that actually help you in standing tall. Now, I want to like read something from the emperor in here, because I just love this line that Mike Mignola has written in his book, right? um a stone cannot bend from the statues. A stone cannot bend, and from the statue's vantage point, it is easy to lose track of the living, breathing individuals amidst the crowd. True success comes from merging of the two points of the view. Oh my god, why am I reading it like this? Wait a second. Stone cannot bend, and from the statue's vantage point, it is easy to lose track of the living, breathing individuals amid the crowd. True success comes from merging of the two points of view. The strength of stone must be combined with the flexibility of the human form, and that's the thing. Oftentimes, our challenges turns our heart into stones. I think I've heard that many times, right? That our challenges turns us into stone. It makes our heart cold. But the thing is, you have to understand how to balance the fragility the fragility of a of your inner self, the fragility of a human being, the vulnerability of a human being, the flexibility of a human being with its stone form, right? With the challenge, with the stone form that your challenges have turned you into, right? And that to achieve that balance, you need to sit with your emotions rather than trying to cope with it, because the next time something like that happens, and if you do not have access to your coping mechanism, it will be harder for you to stand still, it will be harder for you to stay put, because because of not wanting to confront those emotions, right? Going back to their same coping mechanisms is not going to help you. And that's why I'm seeing the empress, where empress is the true self healing, right? The empress is the true form of nurturing yourself. She's the archetype of a mother, right? How do I say this? um Man, why do I see glitches all? um there were so many points. Yeah, I wanted to add this point, right? I wanted to talk about all these. I wanted to really, lean on, like not lean on. Yeah, I think there was a point in my life where I was like leaning on a lot of tarot readers, psychological analyzers, this, that, validatory experts, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and and it can be very addicting. It can be very addicting to, go to these readers, experience this type of validation, not to strengthen yourself, but to basically validate yourself and cope from whatever hard situation or whatever challenge you're facing in your life, right? And I feel like many people are reverting into that. Like the more I see people, doom scrolling through social media, the more I see them, being a retard and doing nothing. Like literally, them, like it's. There used to be a time when we used to shame boomers, or we used to shame old people for doing nothing but sitting on a fucking phone and just watching videos and posting stuff. And I feel like like the fact that this younger generation is doing the same thing that they once shamed other people for, and not only doing that, but like basically, um, and becoming victims of convenience, becoming victims of coping mechanisms, you know. The more convenient we become, the more weaker we become to the physical ailments, the more weaker we become to the ailments that are surrounding us, right? And I feel like that's mostly because none of us actually like took the time to sit with the harshness of the things around us. For example, I'll just give you a very small inconvenience, okay? Just get out of your house, walk barefoot, walk barefoot for like 2 minutes out in the pavement, The burning sun will, like, you cannot do that with your barefoot anymore. Let's not even talk about barefoot. Let's say that you're going around wearing slippers, right? Or wearing shoes. I think it will, like, try to sit on the grass if you can. Like try to find a grassy field and like try sitting on it. The amount of people who will feel uncomfortable doing that, because there's so much filth in the grass, there's so much dirt and dust here and there and everything else. And the thing is, it's not dirt and dust. It's not that. It's just that you've grown so we have grown so and the thing is, if today, if half of us like decided to get out of these concrete buildings and get out of this four walled space and literally like spend some time out sitting in the um sitting under the sun, or sitting under the shade of a tree in on the grass, I feel like people will feel more conscious towards taking care of the environment, conscious towards the sound, noise pollution that they are doing outside. I feel like these concrete walls don't even allow you to understand the kind of noise pollution that the trees outside must be experiencing, the animals outside must be experiencing. Um, yeah, man. I just feel like this is like a sort of. I feel like I won't call these, sometimes, privileges are coping mechanisms. Sometimes uh privilege, like coping mechanism is a privilege, all right. And once that coping mechanism or that privilege becomes a system, you become, yeah, for the sake of convenience. And I'm not against convenience, all right, but when it becomes a system for the sake of convenience, people forget the potential that they had. They forget how strong they are in reality. They forget their own strength, their own inner strength, right? And they start become, and it's like, I won't say rendition, but it's almost like, um, they start acknowledging themselves with a sense of self that is way more weaker as compared to the um, sense of self that they used to acknowledge before with, right? um, for example, that like before times we did not like, there used to be a whole damn, like, in nowadays, people are like, it's harder for people to understand if the person in front of them is having suicidal thoughts or not, because half of the time they are out there on, like, we do not know what is going on in the minds of the individual in front of us. We do not know what opinions or um thoughts what thoughts or what type of mindset the person in front of us has, because the person in front of us has their own little world inside the social media apps, inside all these algorithms, right? And the worst part about it is that we have stopped we have stopped trying to communicate our inner world with the outer, our inner world, or we have stopped trying to express this. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong in express, there's not wanting to express, right? But it's like there are people who do not do that because, they find it very cringe to do that. Okay, they find it really, maybe they feel like if they do that, the world will make fun of them or something else or something like that, right? And or they might feel like it's very scary out there to put out their thoughts, put out their feelings, express whatever they want to express, right? um Especially what if whatever they are expressing sounds trivial to the audience, right? Or it sounds ironic to the audience, right? And I just wish and I just feel like people need to, like, yeah, that um and we are forming so many polarized thoughts after coming to the internet, because the internet becomes a safe space for us. The algorithm, if you have seen the movie, I think it's a Netflix movie called something, I forgot. Is it Social Media Sickness? Wait a second, what is that Netflix movie about? um Social media and stuff. Wait a second. um the Social Dilemma, yeah, the Social Dilemma, right? There are movies like that, that can actually, documentaries, I mean, there are documentaries, there are movies like that that can actually help you understand how much we are going inside this inner world, and how many of us, and I feel like COVID totally solidified this idea, right? Where, and because of COVID, we all were like, okay, we are too much into the social media now, we are too much into the um you know um into our own inner worlds now. And I feel like, yeah, it's time to get out, it's time to get out and find confronting opinions, find opinions that are different from us, meet people who think in mythologies, meet people who believe in stupid things, and instead of shaming them, just experience them, like what kind of people these are, um what do they have in their minds, right? I feel like there is so much out there that we are missing out on, because we are going so deep into the inner world that we are having, and it's like, And also because a part of it is because we do not want to confront the betrayal that we received at one point of our life, or we do not want to confront the hard emotions, because the more we try to take silent time, the more we try to remain silent, the more that thought or that betrayal or whatever that thing is, problem is that we do not want to face, the more it haunts us, right? And I feel like that's why people are like leaving that silence away, and they are subscribing to doom scrolling apps just so that they can cope with whatever uh whatever they are going through. And it's a different type of privilege, I wouldn't lie, it's an amazing privilege to have that. And there, like, either in the future, either this will become a system where there will be a bunch of people who will find it very convenient to sort of, like, yeah, this convenience will become a system again, and maybe many people will be a part of that system, and some of us won't be a part of that system, right? And if you're one of those people who doesn't wants to be a part of that system, or who feels like being a part of that type of system doesn't alignments with you, I feel like this reading might help you, in some manner or in some way. Because right now I'll start talking about the Empress, I'll start talking about the nurturance, all right? So there is some things, all right, that I have observed as I've grown up as a kid. Um, Whenever you have a sugar craving in your body, just go outside and take a walk. Just go outside and take a bloody damn walk. Glucose is I think it's very easy for your body to digest glucose. All right, it's very easy for your, not glucose, I mean, it's very easy for your body to digest carbohydrates, and carbohydrates to simple sugars, all right? And taking a walk will actually, I won't say increase your blood sugar levels, but it will sort of like metabolize those sugars or those complex carbohydrates down to simple sugars, and all that sugar craving that you were feeling, it will go away just by taking a gosh darn walk. So I did not know this. And I like, this is not something that my grandparents told me or something else like that. I'm not even putting medical advices in here, please don't take it as a medical advice. I just, yeah, it's an experiment that I did with myself, and so somewhat it was, it worked all right. Not in every case, but in some cases it definitely worked. And I was like, okay, yeah, these are some things that my grandparents should have told me. These are some things that old people would have told me if they were alive. Why aren't they telling this to us? Why are they so busy teaching us? Yeah, why aren't they telling us about our body? Why aren't they teaching us about our bodies? And I just realized that real nurturance doesn't looks like you coping with stuff, or you going for more convenient stuff. Real, I'm getting real excellence in nurturing, or real excellence of um, pruning ourselves. Wait a second. Pruning. Let me see. Wait a second. Yeah, the excellence in pruning ourselves, or the excellence in pruning the things that we do not need in our life, especially in this life of convenience, in this very life of convenience where we have everything available to us so conveniently. I feel like the very idea of pruning the things that we do not want, and the things that are in to excess that are available in excess to us, I feel like that itself, um, many people, many people, what they do is that they kind of like call it discipline, they kind of call it the hard thing to do. And I feel like it's not the hard thing to do, I feel like it's a nurturing thing to do. And I feel like we should like start calling it for what it is. removing excess Removing excess convenience from our life is a nurturing thing to do, because it nurtures your body, it nurtures your soul, but it nurtures your soul in a different manner. It nurtures your soul in a way where the body that was meant to exercises. And um it's I understand, it's not like I do not know how hard it is, right? I understand it is, it is a hard thing. Like we are so used to watching this perfect bodybuilders, perfect yoga instructors, perfect this, perfect that, that the entire idea of exercise just seems like out of touch, or it just feels like it is out of like it feels out of touch for the normal people, right? Because, and especially in a perfectly curated world that we are trying to make, aesthetic world that we are trying to make, I feel like it's so hard for people. And I'm saying this for anyone out there, no matter what you are, how you look, whoever you are. I feel like, um, yeah, I do not want to take down this video because, yeah, even if you want to look a little bit perfect or anything else like that, it's fine to have those feelings. But I just want you to understand that there is a different kind of beauty in embracing, um those failures, and in understanding that things don't always look, just because things look really perfect and curated on the outside, it isn't perfect and curated, like as they say. Sometimes it's a bunch of failures, it's a bunch of failures combined together, right? And I feel like many people, what they try to do is they try to make failures look like, um I don't know, like getting, like people make it look as if, like I feel like failing as an act is a very, um how do I say this? Like it's it's got it's nurturing. It's nurturing for your own self. It's a very, it's like it's basically confronting the hard facts, it's confronting the fact that you're not good enough yet. And it's basically also reason why many people, like, they fail in exercising, or they fail, like keeping up with the exercises. It's not the fact that they fail again and again, it's the fact that they just cannot sit with the silence of failing. Like they cannot, like once they have failed, it's like they just cannot sit with the fact that they have failed. And the emotions, they cannot, like, look at that saboteur inside them, that is like sabotaging them constantly and is calling them a failure. And then they see a physical limitation in front of them where they've actually failed doing that exercise. And because of that, what happens is that it becomes even more harder for these people to sit in silence, to sit, um to sit in silence with themselves, or to sit, um with that hard emotion, or that hard fact. Yeah, it becomes harder for them to confront the fact that they have failed. So they do not want to sit with silence anymore, they don't want to hear about silence. I've seen so many people who are, who try to curb that silence with music in their ears, especially while doing gym. They'll like, yeah, like they'll curb it using social media apps, they'll curb it using doom scrolling apps and everything, because there is a negative thought process in them that is just telling them that you are a failure, you just failed doing this, you're not doing good enough. And there's, and people, what they try to do is they try to reach for that convenient method, right? They try to reach for that little convenience in front of them, so that, um they can sort of, like, get away from these negative thoughts. And I know that it's a very, very hard thing to do. I know what I'm talking about is very hard to do, right? It's very hard to sit with those negative emotions. And the more you sit with them, I feel like, and that's the thing. That's the thing of the necessity, right? Like, not necessity, but I don't think it's necessary. I feel like it's a thing. It's only a necessity if you really, if you really want to be in tune with yourself, or if you really want to, like, if you really wish to see yourself for who you are. But yeah, like many people try to avoid that. They try to avoid that inner saboteur inside them, because it just, and see, I'm also one of those people who have been guilty of, you know, using a phone right after doing an exercise, because I do not want to remember the amount of times I failed doing a gosh darn push up, all right. but but yeah, it's just the fact, it's because I do not want to confront this little person inside me that is crying, that I do not want to confront this scared individual within me that just doesn't wants to um sit with failures, right? And doesn't understands that failure is a learning step, not something that um that is taking me down completely. It's just, it's not my downfall, it's just a failure, right? And I wish, like, and I feel like, yeah, that's what nurturing is like, right? um and if your nurturing is very depressing, or if you're not like, if you feel like that silence is very depressing for you, yeah, reaching out for your coping mechanisms is not a bad thing. But if you feel like you can sit with that little inner saboteur inside you, if you can sit with that person who is doing this negative self talk, just because you failed once, if you can sit with that, I feel like, yeah, you have somehow unlocked the ability to see yourself. You have unlocked the ability to experience yourself in your fullest original manner, right? You have finally unlocked the ability to authentically see yourself, right? and and that level of, like, I feel like when you reach that level of transformation, when you reach that level, or when you reach that state of mind, I feel like at that state of mind, transformation is, it, it might, yeah, like the reason why the voice is so loud is because the transformation is near, the reason why the voice is so fucking loud is because you are you have finally like broke away from that noise, and you're trying to listen, you're trying to like sit with yourself. And I feel like as you grow more and more patient with yourself, as you grow more and more, um it's not just patient with yourself, as you grow more and more patient with yourself, like, and I also feel like patient with the people around you, and letting them see yourself, and I've also seen this one thing. There used to be a time when I used to, like, sit in silence to experience myself, but I would never confront my fears. This was something that I had, all right. I would never confront my fears basically being, being seen by people, being seen as an eccentric person by other people, being seen as a weird person by other people. It was a big scare of mine, where I did not want to be seen as someone like that. Like, I did not want to be seen as the weird person that people did not want to see, right? um like I have a like I have a bunch of brain diseases, weird shit going on with me, right? And all of them are laughable. All of them are fucking laughable, right? But I just feel like there is like this certain yeah, there is a certain, I won't say, I feel like, yeah, there is, especially as a mentally ill human being, I've experienced this myself, that there is a certain romanticization of a certain kind of mental illness, and a certain demonization of a certain kind of illness, and or the way that person expresses that illness, right? And the more I see it, the more I'm like, okay, um it just gave me an idea on, um like, it just made me realize that I can express a part of my weirdness, but I cannot express the other part of my weirdness, which is basically an authentic expression of myself, right? And and see, I've seen so many people who are out there, so many schizophrenics, right? They record their experiences of talking to a gosh darn hallucination, and talking about movies, talking about their favorite games with that hallucination. And I'm like, yeah, that is what my mental illness looks like, but I cannot show that to other people, I cannot tell that to other people, because it's unacceptable to talk to yourself, to talk to a wall, right? And I was blessed with some very beautiful people in my life, um who did not have an issue with me talking to myself, who saw me talking to myself, who saw me hallucinating many a times, and they were okay with it. They were like, yeah. And uh like, yeah, weird people exist. It's not that these people are mentally ill, but they are just, they weirdly do exist. So after that, yeah, after that experience, I was like, okay, and I just realized that, like that, I was able to face I was able to face my fear, I was able to face the fact that, um behaving weirdly in public wouldn't get me bullied by other people. Behaving weirdly wouldn't make people, like, weirdly in the, I'm not talking about, weirdly in the sense of, like, you go and hurt other people and other people won't hurt you back. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, just talking to yourself or talking to an hallucination, and all of a sudden people just do, yeah, people do not care about it, people do not, people not, um people just being like, okay, that person is like not bullying you for it, not hurting you for it. And I feel like once I was able to, like, sit with that fear of mine, I was like, okay, um yeah, I think I started having more patience for myself. I started realizing that, um yeah, I started having more patience for myself. And there was also a thing where, um yeah, many people were like, but Smriti, you need to stop doing that, you need to stop talking to yourself. I'm not saying that I should not stop talking to myself. Even I wanted to stop talking to myself if I could, right? That's the reason why I had such a shame and fear. But the thing is, shame and fear is not a good way of suppressing this thing. And it's more, if some it is something that needs to be seen with a far more nuanced understanding, right? And with that shit in mind, I like, yeah, I just sort of understood that, I just sort of understood that this long term fear of mine that I had for such a long time in my life, that if I start talking to myself and if I start hallucinating in the middle, all of a sudden, like in between the crowd in the middle, and people wouldn't like come at me and hurt me, it's just, and yeah, it just gave me a great grand, like, yeah, I just realized. And like, yeah, once that fear was resolved, I was able to sit with myself in a much more better manner. I was able to, like, calm down and, like, sort of not get more panicked. Because the more I because sometimes, when I was, like, getting bullied for talking to myself, what would happen is that I would end up going into a way more deeper spiral of schizophrenia, where I would start hallucinating even more. And finally, when I was not feeling that stress anymore, my hallucinations reduced, me talking to myself reduced, pretty much, like, yeah, things just started improving. And the more I and all of a sudden, it's like it was easier to interact with the people around me. It was easier to, like, sit with me. And yeah, almost like that fear of not being able to imitate other people, not being able to imitate people normally, that fear, almost, that it's as if that fear got dispelled. And um, this idea of being me, this idea of that little subconscious behavior within me, um, yeah, it's as if that idea just totally faded away. And I could, like, finally, like, yeah, it's like, yeah, it's like I just finally understood that being me is not harmful. Like, sometimes having, like, yeah, by mistakenly hallucinating all of a sudden is not a harmful thing. And it just gave me a good perspective, and also gave me a lot more patience for myself, because of which I was able to reduce my stress, my anxiety. And yeah, um I think I'm learning a lot more on this stuff, right? Like how to dispel this entire notion, how to, like, I'm learning a lot more these days. Like I'm trying to push myself a little bit more every single day, just so that, not I'm not saying that I'm consciously making that effort, but yeah, nowadays I'm like, I do try a little bit to, like, um stay away from social media and go out and talk to the other people around me, or at least take a fucking walk, like, honestly. And sometimes hallucinate while I'm fucking walking. I sometimes do that, all right. I still have that habit. And not a big habit as much, but fine habit. Just me doing blah 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 with myself. And um yeah, all of a sudden I'm not confined in my inner space anymore. I'm finally outside in the outer world with other people. I'm a little absent-minded person with the sitting with the world around me. Doesn't matter if I'm gonna go. It doesn't matter if somebody is gonna be like, well, if you keep talking to yourself, you might end up in an accident or something like that. Yeah, I might, but I'm not that, like, yeah, I don't, like, yeah, I know, I understand that, I know that, I get that, all right. I'm not trying to be that absent-minded. I'm not trying to make space for that much absent-mindedness. I'm just making space for the amount of absent-mindedness that I that's just in coherence with in coherence with what my subconscious makes me hallucinate at times, right? Yeah. And I feel like this is something like, I'm learning more and more to on, and that is what I'm saying, right? That's the difference between convenience and um coping mechanisms, right? Like, okay, there is a convenience where you can subconsciously start speaking to yourself or subconsciously start hallucinating, but there is a limit to that. Like, don't cope with everything. Do not cope with everything. Like, if you cope too much, you might end up becoming absent minded, right? And that's why coping is not equal to nurturing. So yeah, like, don't be so absent minded that a truck is coming in front of you and you're just waiting for it to dash you completely, right? Don't be so absent minded. And like, yeah, it's almost like, the more I put myself out there, the more I get feedback, the more I get confronted by people, the more I get scolded by people. At least I'm finally learning some new things in my life, right? I'm learning new things about myself, and it might sound very harsh at the start of it all, but honestly speaking, it's just, yeah, it hurts my ego sometimes, but it's, what, at least it's nurturance. It's nurturance, because in the end of the day, I am looking at myself, I am seeing myself, I am painting a part of me out there. And finally, like, because of so much confrontation and so many people like pointing me out, scolding me, I'm finally like sort of getting better at this, getting better at my own little schizophrenia. And yeah, it's, and yeah, I finally, like, like, it's almost like I can almost understand the difference between breaking free. Why am I so addicted to some things? What does coping, um, the difference between coping and nurturing? I'm finally like able to understand how to, like, it's like, not how to, but it's almost like I'm finally, like, patiently seeing myself, patiently sitting with myself. And yeah, I feel like that nurturance, yeah, that nurturance of that, even though it hurts, even though whatever everybody is telling me hurts me a lot. I think, yeah, and I want to use noise cancellation phones just to fucking forget about it all, and I want to go and doom scroll more and more so that it doesn't hurts my emotions. I finally, like, yeah, it's almost like, yeah, there is a part of me that has created a armor around me where I'm like, okay, um, if this person just starts hating on me and starts, um, abusing me, verbally abusing me or anything else like that, I can, yeah, I can like, yeah, I can just ignore this individual and move on because this is not the kind of feedback that I want. I want good feedbacks. And I can, like, once you create, yeah, that's the thing. That's the pain that I'm talking about, right? Like, whatever, like, if the pain is too much for you, learn to, like, yeah, it's like create an armor that is good enough for you to, or create a boundary that doesn't allows for stupid feedbacks in your fucking circle. Just allow the feedback that can actually, like, fill your mind and open your brain cells up. And sometimes what happens is that when you get too addicted to the coping mechanisms, especially to these, especially these I've seen so many of these, validation based content out there, like tarot reading, validation based content out there, especially if you become too much consumed by these ideas. What will happen is that you will never develop that armor. You will never understand what it is to set a boundary with such people who are giving you hate. And all you will do is you will try to run behind, you will try to create a mask, or you will try to create an egoic mask around yourself, where there is this one person. It might, and I'm talking this from my own experience, all right. Like, I would often, I will often daydream about shit where I'll just make up scenarios where I'm the greatest human being in this entire world, all right, because I had such low self-esteem, right? And that, I think, yeah, the entire idea, the entire action of doing that itself felt like it ritual is like I almost made it a ritual to tell myself how much of a great person I am every single day. Because everybody around me was hating on me that much, right? And I just started watching YouTubers, tarot readers, this and that, that kept on validating my emotions every single time, right? And I just realized that, yeah, like at one point of my life I just realized that there is a boundary that needs to be drawn. There's a boundary that needs to be drawn where, like, yeah, not everybody is allowed, like, yeah, there is a boundary that needs to be drawn where your sweet words are not allowed, where your harsh words are also not allowed. Only neutral thoughts are allowed, and once you start developing that sort of discernment, developing that sort of boundary also becomes very easy. It becomes easier for you to filter out some of the things that people say. It becomes easier for you to filter out um, what is actually necessary for you and what is not necessary for you. um, I'm also getting, like, once you start detaching yourself, your identity, once you start detaching your identity, because see, whatever identity we try to subscribe ourselves to, we make an ego mask of that. We make a mask of that ego, right, around ourselves. So it's like once I started detaching from that entire identity of whatever these validating people, all of these sweet talkers, whatever these sweet talkers were telling me, and whatever these people who hated me kept on telling me, once I started detaching from that identity that these motherfuckers gave me, um and started standing up for myself and started speaking my own truth out, expressing my own truth out, whatever I felt like out there. I did not care if what I said was right or wrong to anyone out there. I just understood that It's not what they say that is the right thing to do or not to do. It's about how I discern. um it's about discerning what is right for it. It is about understanding that there is, how do I say this, it's not about, I feel like, yeah, it's just being able to take, like, understanding that discernment, understanding uh that it's not like, yeah, I just started expressing things out loud, and I just realized that I did not need to validate myself for saying some of the things that I say. I did not need other people's validations for the things that I said. It was my own way of expressing myself. It was my own expression. And I do not need other people to validate me for that. I do not need other people to like sit there and cater to me for that, right? I do not need other people to cater me. And once I started like coming to that realization, that I do not need people to cater to me, and I just need, I don't know why I'm getting like, yeah, I'm just getting like somebody making stupid valid excuse, something like that. Like somebody just saying that, well, I do not need any of that. I just need some valid excuse to do the things that I do. And I'm like, yeah, like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just seeing that somebody's having a, what is this, man? Yeah, understanding how to control your emotions, right? Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. I feel like, yeah, once you understand how to control your emotions, it doesn't matter if somebody is too harsh to you or too bad to you, right? You just start, or too sweet to you. Once you start like controlling your own emotions and start understanding that you are not supposed to ride the wave that other people are giving you, but rather ride your own wave. I feel like, yeah, that's when like all the harshness of the criticism, you can easily filter out the criticism from the harshness. You can easily filter out the compliments from the um, validation, right? So yeah, I feel like that is where the nurturance starts, right? That is where um, once, yeah, that is where like yeah, I feel like that is what nurturance gives us. Nurturance of the right kind can actually provide us this sort of strength to like see the, to like, you know um accept the outside world and filter its words out through a sieve, so almost like, yeah, like almost like developing that sieve around you, developing that um mesh around you to, so that you can see people for who they are, and like, and not ride their waves, and not um ride their coattails, or ride their validation, or ride, or like sort of um yeah, I'm feeling like I don't need to go any more explain, not, I do not need to explain more on that, but I think you get it when I say it like that. Yeah. um yeah, man, I think those are some of the things that I really wanted to say. Like, I really wanted to talk about how to like get out of the fucking social media apps. Really, like I wanted to speak on that one, because I feel like we have been going way too far with this nonsense, right? We have been going way too far with um going inside our inner world and not balancing that with the outer world around us. Because once you learn how to balance your inner world with the outer world around you, only then can you understand how to bring out your inner world into life. Because once you know how what kind of people you're bringing this inner, like once you understand the people around you, and once you understand what kind of idea, like whatever your idea, whatever idea your inner world has, right? Once you understand once you interact with the world around you, only then will you understand how to bring that idea of inner world, how to make it a concrete idea, by understanding the kind of um, people, or by understanding the kind of system that you're in, right? Now, in for example, if you were born in a world where nobody hates on nobody, right? Everybody's mind is just filled with flower gardens and roses. You wouldn't Yeah, maybe your challenge wouldn't be basically people's harsh words. Maybe your challenge would be something else. Maybe it would be the fear of dark. Maybe it would be the fear of um um you know I don't know, fear of bad faces, like, I don't know, bad appearances. Yeah, something like that, right? It would be a fear of being betrayed, but not betrayed, but not betrayed. It would be because everybody will be thinking, like, yeah, it's like understanding. Yeah, I feel like that's the thing. Just understand the system that is around you. Understand whatever system you are living in. Like, yeah, like once you understand, once you, like, talk with the people around you, you will understand the type of system that you're in. You will understand the type of people you're talking to. You will understand the kind of world you're living in, the kind of space you are at, the kind of competitive space this is, right? And once you understand that, it will be easier for you to bring your inner world, or manifest that inner world, to your outer reality. Okay. And once you understand that, I think, yeah, once you understand that, you will be able to execute your task in a much better manner, right? Suppose you were living in a world where there was a huge dragon that is supposed to eat all the human beings, right? um there is this very beautiful story that was, I saw it yesterday. I forgot where I saw it. I'll put the link of that in my description box. But you should definitely go and watch that. You know why I say that? Because that story is like, it's an amazing story about how human world, and human world's system, the human world viewpoint will change, um if they adopted a, yeah, it's a story of how the human world's system will change, or how the human world will, if there was a dragon in this world, right? So it's like, yeah, I feel like it's understanding the kind of system you're in, the kind of people you're surrounded by. Because once you understand them, once you understand yourself, and then you understand the world around you, only then can you create a concrete, um, only then can you bring your inner world outside, right? Only then can you bring your inner world, uh, to you can manifest that inner world with that dose of practicality that you get from the outside world. It's sort of like your academic knowledge plus your experience gives you, a better makes you a better candidate, right? So, yeah, something like that is here. Yes, just I want to talk about tarot cards now. I want to talk about the three specific cards that I'm getting in my head. Card number 3, Empress. Card number 4, Emperor. And card number 5, Hierophant. Hierophant, all right. So if you do not know what Hierophant is a card that actually talks about, um what does it talk about, Smriti? Yeah, it talks about, um now what the heck does it talk about? Wait a second. Yeah, it talks about, um I'm not getting the word. Yeah, it talks about bringing our yeah, it talks about influencing people a lot. All right, I will definitely say that Hierophant reminds me a lot of influencers, a lot of cult leaders, and all this stuff. All right, so yeah, I feel like one of the reasons why Hierophant is so influential, one of the reasons why Hierophant is so good at doing the things that he does is because the Hierophant has understood the world outside. The Hierophant has understood the practical world that lies outside him. And the Hierophant was like, okay, this is how the practical world is like, this is how the system is like. And what they did was that they played with the system. They played with the system. They are playing in alignment with the system to create their to create a mass population, or to create a cult around them, or to create a following around them, or to create a group mindset around them, right? Yeah, so it's almost, yeah, it's almost just like that. I think you need to understand the the difference between the world outside you and inside you. You have to learn how to accept the system so that you can see things in a far more different perspective, or so that you can bring things to life um, in accordance with the system, or in accordance with the system, or like in accordance with the system also means learning to accept the system, learning to, because Hierophant is all about learning to accept the system and learning to um, sit with the system. So that's what I'm getting. It's sort of like you have to learn to develop that hardcore outside you. You have to develop that sieve or that mesh around you, so that you can sit with the idea of Hierophant, so that you can sit with the idea of accepting the system for what it is, and then choosing to go in a path that leads you to, choosing to go towards a path that leads you to your, yeah, it's like sitting with the system and understanding how to deal with the system around you. Only then can you, like, um fulfill the manifest that inner world in you. Yeah, express that inner world in you and bring it outside and put it out there. I feel like for many of you, because I'm getting King of Cups in here, it's about learning how to control your emotions. For some people, this could also be learning how to control your passion, or learning how to control your fire, your excitement for things, yeah, like these are some of the things that you need to keep in mind before you keep in mind for, your own better health, for your own nurturance. Once you understand how to nurture yourself, and once you understand how to discern between the outer criticism and outer validation that you get, and turn them into neutral thoughts and turn them into self improvement tips. Once you learn to do that, yeah, you can, yeah, once you learn to do that, it will be far more, I won't say productive, but it's more like it will be an like it seems like a hard journey at first, but it is much better than coping. It's much better than coping through convenience, and because I won't like, because this method doesn't requires you to suppress um things for a long period of time. Like, how do I say this, like, how do I say this, for example, human beings are so convenient with the four walls around them, right? That's why they do not understand the kind of noise pollution that the animals outside the fucking four walls are experiencing. They do not understand that. And that's what I'm saying. You do not understand, and that's why so many people have a hard time. Um, I've seen so many people in my country, bro. They do not want to get out of their house, or even if they get out, they keep headphones in their head all the time because it's just there is so much noise pollution, and that's the thing. The more you, yeah, like it's sort of like that convenience can sometimes what will happen is that it will like hide your potential, or it will not show your um or you will like end up forgetting if you are actually like you will end up forgetting the limitations, or you'll end up not understanding how much, or you will not be aware of how much bad things have gone outside the four walls that you've created around yourself, right? So it's sort of like when we say awareness is the key, we mean to say awareness is the key to get out of the system. That key that awareness gives is the key to get out of the system and see things outside the system that we have been living in, right? So yeah, once you find that key, I feel like, yeah, I feel like for many of you, I think you have found the key, but I feel like you have a very hard time switching, or maybe you have a hard, I don't think you have a hard time, but I feel like there is something uh like coping mechanisms can cause the coping mechanisms and the convenient systems built on coping mechanisms can sometimes, not every time, but sometimes, um I won't say degenerate, I won't say the word rot, but it's sort of like it can fester a mindset that doesn't sees things, or that doesn't allows us to see things, um festers a mindset that isn't strong enough to like weather storms. Yeah, that's what I want to say. So I'll end this reading with this thing with this thing that I'm reading, right? It is time to address old hurts or make some repairs to your emotional equipment. As you take this time to rediscover hope and inspiration, be sure to maintain your connection to the earth and don't get lost in the abstract dreams of the stars. That's the thing. Don't get lost in the abstract dreams of the stars in your search for hope and inspiration. All right. Yeah, learn to garner that love for yourself, learn to nurture yourself. um yeah, learn to gather that courage to see your own roots, to see your own flaws, to see your own limitations, and work with yourself like, yeah, learn to have that courage to see yourself for the flawed person that you are, and cultivate that patience and that nurturance to process whoever process that process that flawed human being that you are. And it sort of helps. You know what, I'm planning something. I'm seeing that this video is 1 hour and 30 minutes. You know what, I'm thinking I'll just post it as a 1 hour 30-minute video. I do want to, like, I do not know, maybe I'll try to like 2x the speed. Even if I 2x it, I think it will turn into a 45-minute video, I guess. But yeah, but I think I do not want to do that. I do not want to do that. And yeah, I'm thinking of naming it as the video you will need to the only video you will need to get out of social media or something like that, or the only video that you will need to manifest your inner world into reality. Yeah. The fact that I'm also going to post uh, an, a YouTube video in its description because I really loved the storytelling in that video. And what was the most interesting thing about this entire video was how human beings adapted and changed to the needs of the surroundings, right? And I feel like this is something that you need to also understand how to adapt and change to the needs of the surrounding and how to accept the system and adapt to it, you know. So, yeah, that is it for the reading today. Have a great day, soul seers. Bye bye.